Okay, welcome back to Real Conversations with Nora for our 66th episode. And our topic of discussion this week is mother and daughters working together, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Joining me today is Bridget Shaw and Kayla Shaw. Bridget is married to Pastor Kenny Shaw, and they have two children. 27-year-old Kayla Ashley, a successful business owner, 18-year-old Joshua, a future NFL player. Tell Joshua, don't act like you don't know him when he gets there. Bridget worked with a major automotive company for 7.5 years, and Bridget is excited to sit on the board of the CAN Foundation. She believes financial literacy is important for families to build wealth, and Bridget is an international speaker and trainer. Bridget says her greatest achievement to date has been being named the first African American from the state of South Carolina to reach the national millionaire status in her chosen career, allowing her to help other women gain a sense of accomplishment for their independent businesses. Her daughter Kayla Shaw is a beauty entrepreneur and speaker. She recently began pursuing a career in acting at a local agency. After a tragic house fire, she paused on school and became inspired to start her first business with direct sales. She quickly moved up the ranks, promoting herself to the top 2% of a major cosmetic company. You see, Kayla discovered her love for the for mentoring on this journey that has been given to her with confidence. She feels like she has gained lots of confidence during this journey, and to everyone that is aligned with her purpose. You see, people have to be aligned with your purpose, and I love that, Kayla. Kayla is a thrill seeker with a love for Jesus Christ, fashion, definitely for fashion, guys, and traveling. She inspires to inspire in every arena and understands the significance of the wisdom filled women before her that made it possible for her to live the life that she wants to live. So, Bridget and Kayla, thank you so much for taking on this task and joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. So I am a Google person. I love to Google. So I read something on Google the other day, and I found it pretty interesting because I didn't even know that outside of actually Mary Kay, that people use the DISC. I thought, it's just a Mary Kay thing. Yeah, but other people do it. So we said, this lady and her daughter said, we both took the DISC profile assessment through a professional women rather of Winston-Salem a couple of weeks ago. And they both found out that they were Ds, that they were dominant. We jokingly remarked that one of them said, and she said that she was the capital D and that her daughter was the lower D. The section of her assessment was off the chart, while mine was more normal range. And our team appreciates her dominant personality, and she's a fantastic leader. And I have big shoes to fill. And I'm assuming that's her daughter talking about her. She said, to be quite honest, the bad and the ugly are a rarity. Truly, 90%, 95% of the time, we're getting along, which is remarkable. While we do have things in common, as I mentioned, we also are quite different. I affectionately refer to my mother as the severely ADHD. And she said, and if you ever met her, you would agree with me. She is also the most selfless person that I know. And I've never seen anyone more willing to give to others than this woman. So what would you say? What would you say about that statement? And how does that work with you and Kayla? And I know for me, I was working with my granddaughter, and to save our relationship, I fired her because it wasn't going to work. It was just not going to. She wanted to do things her way, and I wanted things done a certain way, and I was trying to get her to understand the difference. So I would say there goes that ugly. And so I said, you know what? To save our relationship, I don't think it's good that we work together. So what is your thought? Because you guys are in business together, and I believe, Kayla, you're still at home with your mom and dad, right? So that's even more. That's like being married to your husband. Married to your husband, you work with him, you go to work with him, you ride the train with him, you come home with him. It's like all the time you're in each other's face. So what personality? Well, I know that Bridget is a D, and what are you, Kayla?
I'm
Let's just talk
actually a
about this.
C. I'm a C.
Whoa, my God. So
Yes,
that kind of drives D's crazy, right, Bridget?
yes,
So
it does. It
talk
does.
a little bit about that because I just thought this whole DIC was just so interesting.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, DISC is something that Zig Ziglar created, I believe, and being that I have been working with that for quite some time, it was very surprising to find that as an adult, Kayla was a CS, and I am definitely a DI, and
Right.
it was definitely different. But being that I guess, as you were talking about your granddaughter, Kayla doesn't work for me. We work in the same business, but she's self-employed. She's
Right.
independently contracted, and so it was just a matter of the way we do things.
Right.
And once I understood that the way I do things and the way I see things doesn't necessarily have to be the right, she can have her thought process and it still come together.
Mhm.
I find it is easy to work with her now.
Good. So,
And it
Kayla, what's your thought about that?
I have to agree. Looking at that quote, I could relate in some ways, being able to see, just the different versions of your mother. How
Mhm.
she saw her mother was ADHD, as she called it. I love to tease my mom because she cannot multitask. She's responding to emails and text messages, and you're in the background trying to talk to her, and she's just like, yeah. And you're like, did you hear anything that I said? But she's also so giving. She's been such a true example of what I want to be in my business,
Mhm.
but also in other arenas of life. So I definitely relate in that aspect. But when it came to the two Ds, I could not relate once again because we are different.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just a matter of communicating with each other. That's
Mhm.
one thing I realized: when we are
Mhm.
ready to communicate, we do it well.
Mhm.
And so she just knows that I'm extremely sensitive. That's just who I am. I'm
Mhm.
very kind.
Mhm.
And I just, as long as it's known, she's willing to work with me. And so we just adjust at the way that we communicate with each other to get things done.
Mhm.
And she's my bestie. She just doesn't know it.
Right. So, are there times though, Kayla, when it's like, it's like so frustrating, and it's like, okay, let me just go in my room, shut the door, and be quiet for a minute. Are those times that because that's the difference. You guys are working, and even though I had my own business and Nia was working for me, but I felt like she was connected. And so
Mhm.
I just knew ahead of time that, what, this is not going to work. This is totally not going to work. It's not going to work. But has there been times when you just felt like, oh my God, I just need to go in the room and just,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. There are some times I don't want to be her friend no more.
Okay.
And
But
I think the way that our lives are set up,
Mhm.
Nora, I heard someone say a long time ago that they wanted to build a home where their kids could live with them and not feel like they were living with their parents. And that's kind of the setup that Kenny and I created
Mhm.
so that, we could use money wisely,
Mhm.
and so I believe with my children, Joshua 18, Kayla 27, there is a separation,
Yeah.
so we understand when we're working and we understand when we're family, and
Right.
that has created stability in our work relationship.
Good,
right.
good, good, good. So,
Mhm.
what would you say is good about your relationship and your working together? What have you set any boundaries? Are there any boundaries or foundation for that? Because there definitely has to be. Because, like you said it yourself, you said, "Okay, this is when we work together. Oh, shut it off. This is when we're sitting down for family. Okay, shut it off. We get ready to go on vacation together." So
Right.
there are those boundaries. And of course, you want her to be successful, and
Mhm.
I think we all want our children to be successful.
Mhm.
And when they're not going in the direction that we know, because we have the knowledge and the wisdom that they should go in, I'm assuming, Bridget, it could be a little frustrating. Talk a little
Very.
bit about that.
Yes, very. So it has really helped me
Mhm.
because being a DI, I thought I had kind of softened. And then, actually working with someone who is going to say, wait a minute, no, no, that's not how I do things. That's not how I want to do things. It really made me go back and look at my leadership skills and the way I'm guiding. And it even allowed me to be able to pull someone else into the equation so that they could show me where I might be, a little too much of a D, and
Right.
where I could soften things. And so it really has helped me having someone as close to me as Kayla to
Mhm.
be different from me. And I
Good.
feel like it's taught me how to work with different personalities.
Oh, good, good. Caitlin, your thought?
Yes, my thought is the boundaries that we set come in the form of emotions. It's shown me how to take personal accountability for not living in those emotions, not allowing those emotions to control me, because sometimes that's exactly what it is. It's just emotions. And so it's something that you really need to create, especially when building a business. You need to learn how to manage those emotions and let things go and move forward so that you can continue to build what you're looking to build. And
Mhm,
so I think that our relationship has strengthened that for me.
mhm,
But I have to go back to what you said in that quote before. I wanted to mention earlier, my mother has always been that kind of woman. If you have a disagreement or if there's things that we've hurt each other's feelings, she doesn't let me go for a day. She doesn't, she's just very lovable when it comes to her children. And
mhm,
so maybe we decided we don't want to be friends today, but by the end of the day, we're hugging and laughing again because that's just the nature of our relationship. And so I do think that that makes things a bit easier,
mhm,
even when difficulties arise.
mhm. Okay,
Mhm.
good. I also read something the other day that said it's true that the bond between a mother and a daughter is something special. Real talk. Mother and daughters working together, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it says.
Mhm.
Both our differences and our similarities are what makes us work so well together. We feel blessed that we get to learn from each other and inspire each other on a daily basis, to help us grow. So,
Mhm.
what's your thought on that? How would you say, take that statement and say that applies to you too?
Wow. Again, I feel like it is so true because it has helped me so much. And I wanna talk about the ugly because we could dance around that. I
Right.
want to talk about the ugly. The
That's why I
ugly,
started it with Nia.
right, right. The ugly is not so much it is what I see in Kayla
Mhm.
that is really in me,
Right.
and the changes that I want to make in myself.
Right.
That would be the part that I would say would be the ugly when you are faced with, wow, am I like that? Okay, I want to change that about myself.
Hmm.
And so that would be the ugly part because when you're working with someone and you're building each other, there really can't be any ugly parts of it because you're becoming the better version of yourself. So
Mm,
that's how I feel about it.
I love that. I love that. What's your thought, Kayla?
My thought is, going back to how she said we're kind of able to learn from each other. I
Mhm.
never really went in depth with that. Sometimes I feel like I can take things a bit too serious. She's always said that I've been one to be very literal. And
Uh-huh.
so, being able to have a close relationship with her, knowing that she's a D, she's wired differently. And
Right.
so, in some cases, when it really does not benefit me to, go so deep into thought about something or be
Mhm.
so affected by something, it's
Mhm.
so easy for me to connect with her and say, what do you think about this? Am I doing too much? Am I thinking too
Mhm.
much?
Mhm.
And so although it can be a sensitive topic for me, it's
Mhm.
it's really given me clarity on how
Mhm.
to navigate certain things in life. And
Mhm.
so I appreciate those differences.
Mhm.
And then sometimes you'd be amazed how similar we think about things
Mhm.
despite our personality differences.
Yeah.
Okay, good,
Mhm.
good. So are there times when you don't agree? And how do you handle that when you have those times that you don't agree? I know with my own daughter, my daughters are totally different. Oh my God, my two daughters are totally different. One is like her dad, which is my previous husband, totally like him. She's very business minded, and I'd say she's a D, and even more so stronger than I am. And the other one is so much like me. But when I get frustrated, I said, I'm hanging up now. I'm going to hang up now. And then, that's how we deal with it. And that gives me time to cool down and her time to cool down so that we can come back together and we don't agree. I see. So and I think this is what you might have meant, Bridget. I see so much more for her that she doesn't see for herself. And that, I think, for me, is the most frustrating part, because you know the gifts, you know the talents, you know where she could be. The Bible says your gifts will make room for you and put you before great people. And just trying to, it's almost like, shake her and just say, get it, because you got it.
Yeah.
So what is your thought? How do you guys deal with when you don't agree? Because there are times, let's face it, we don't live in a perfect world and everything's not, oh, la, 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 la. There are those times.
I want to address two things. You talked about, the daughter having qualities that she doesn't see in herself.
Right.
And then the first one was about how do we handle things when we disagree. So now you're gonna make me tell my secrets. You're gonna make me tell my secrets.
That's what it's all about. That's why it's real conversations.
I say, Kenny, I need you to talk to, Kayla. Or I tell my girlfriend, I said, hey, I need you to talk to Kayla, because their personalities are alike.
Right.
And so where I might say, go in and say something, I might not say it to where it can be received. You can have a great message. But if the person can't receive it, it's just a great message. It hasn't any kind of impact. And so I do call in someone, or I'll ask, this is what's going on. This is what I said. How could I have said this differently so it would have been received differently?
Right.
And then I was out today, and this woman said, how does it feel to have such an amazing daughter? And I thought, wow. Now I thought, wow, not because I didn't know that she was amazing.
Right.
I thought, wow, because
someone else recognized
everybody has a walk that they have to take.
Mm-hmm.
And just because I see it and others see it, she's still in the process. God is still building her, and she's still in the process of becoming. And so I just have to be patient and let him do his work.
Right.
Yeah.
And he will do it. So Kayla, what's your thought?
I look at that side, and it is true. Sometimes I'm going to say, need mediators. Is that a good way to put it? So dad is sometimes the mediator. Grandma might sometimes be a mediator, but I also see like the good things, because once we kind of get that air and we take in different opinions from maybe my dad, then we make up. And I remember us taking like morning walks together, and we're able to communicate clearly about what it is she felt and what it is that I feel, and how we can change things and come together. And so although, things do get ugly, just once again, it's always a working relationship. There's never like an end to it, which I'm so grateful for, because people do not always have the best relationships with their mothers. And so, I just like that it's always this open line of clear communication that we can have. I feel comfortable going to her for anything. And yeah, even when we get on each other's nerves,
let's face it, it's real.
Yeah.
Right.
And there are times when we have to go to each other and we'll say, okay, now I need you to give me your honest opinion on this.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with business. It has everything to do with, the way that this looks or the way that this feels. So we do have to remind each other every once in a while to take the hat off and let's be here. Let's be present.
Okay, so I have a question. So how do you deal with, like, I know with Nia, this young generation, if it's too long, it's old fashioned. So it's got to be short, got to have a split. Sometimes the boobs are showing, and I'm like, I think that's a bit much. How do you, because you're in business together, so how do you deal with having those kinds of conversations with Kayla? And Kayla, how do you receive it? Because I know with when I'm talking with Nia, I'm like, you got a little bit too much tata showing, or you a little bit too much stomach showing,
Right.
And so I think I was on the phone with you when she was going for her interview. Was that you I was talking to? I think she's going to with her interview, and I said, "You wearing that to the interview?" And she said, "Yes, I'm wearing it." And then she came back, and I got the job, by the way. Okay.
That's right. That's right. I recognize that my generation is different.
Right.
And so I guide not only Kayla, but all people that I might be mentoring, that there is a time for all things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're in business, we are a little more conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And when she's hanging out with her friends or she's going on a date, I see nothing wrong with her being a trendsetter.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how we deal with it.
Okay,
Right.
good. And
Yeah.
Kayla, do you feel that you feel comfortable with your mother's feedback? If she says, Kayla, that's a little too short and a little bit too touch showing. Now, how do you respond?
And not just business, right, Kayla?
That's old. Yeah, I
It's
know that.
not just business.
And
Yeah.
It's
that's
not just
old
business.
conversation. That's what we old folks say.
Yeah.
Your tatas are showing, but with
Yeah.
young generation, it's your boobs, your breasts. But
Yeah. I I definitely have to say, as I'm growing, I'm learning that I might be a little stubborn when it comes to things that I really want to do. For sure, but it's a soft stubborn. Like you wouldn't know it until you really get to know me. I was like, wait a minute, stubborn. But what I'm seeing is, I'm open to criticism. I'm wanting to be the best version of me that I can be.
Mhm.
So in recent events, I think I was a guest speaker somewhere, and I was just wondering, what do I want to wear? Because I am a keynote speaker. I want to reflect my business, myself, my family the right way. I was very open to what they had to say. So even when it comes to going on dates, like she said, or hanging out with girlfriends, I do. I have a great relationship with my family, especially my father. I want to know how a man would feel about what I'm wearing and if a man would respect me, that kind of thing. And so I do sometimes come down the stairs like, Dad, how do I look? Or Josh, how do I look? Or Mom, is this okay? Regardless of what the occasion is. So I think I'm pretty receptive when it comes to that. I'm usually the one wanting to know
Right.
what they feel about it.
And I just want to make one correction with you is she gives you her feedback, because
Right.
I think when people criticize you, then the first thing you hear is criticism and you shut down. So I never say, can I give you my constructive criticism? Somebody said that, some fool said that can I give you my constructive criticism? There's no such thing as constructive criticism.
No.
And there's no place in the Bible where God says, oh, my daughter, I shall constructive criticize you.
Right.
No, the Lord said he will instruct us and teach us and show us the way we should go. I think it's more beneficial, and probably what you feel from your parents is the feedback. I always tell people, do you mind if I give you my feedback? Well, that will help you enlighten your situation and possibly see your situation differently. So the person can see it a lot better than versus criticizing. And I know your mom and dad don't criticize you. So just knowing that that's the key point there, you getting their feedback. And I love that you're open for the feedback from your family and those closest to you. So do you find it easier to work together because of the love you have for your business, because you're in the same business? Do you find it you can get so excited about when you see other people that being successful in the business and the organization? Do you feel like your love for the business has really made a major difference in terms of bringing you guys together with the business? What's your thought on that?
I'm going to start on this one if you don't mind. I would say yes and no, because I was able to grow up watching my mother grow up in this business, and I could see the changes in her, just the woman that she's become, the confidence she's gained, but also the women that she's touched. It's amazing to be able to just go out and women comment, oh, Bridget, you're Bridget Shaw's daughter, and telling me all these great things that I had no idea about my mom. I'm not going to go into detail, but I ran into a young lady that used to babysit me, and my mom gave her a great gesture that I had no idea she had done. And it came from the girl's mouth, not my mom. And I'm just like, wow, my mom's amazing. But yes and no, because when it comes to the passion of the business, we've experienced so many great moments, from sharing the stage together for Kathy Halu's event, and tears in our eyes and just kissing each other and like, wow, this is the moment I've dreamed of. But also, like we mentioned earlier, she sees things in me and maybe I'm just not there yet. She sees that I could achieve so many great things, but I haven't grasped it yet. And sometimes it can make us feel like, oh my gosh, Kayla, like, what are you doing? Get it together. But I really enjoy overall us being able to be in the same line of work, because there's nothing like being able to express to your mama, your
Mhm.
own mama,
Right.
what's going on, what you love, what you
Mhm.
need, and her being in your corner and actually knowing how to help.
Good, good,
Mhm.
good.
Nora, let me just say this. I have watched your show and I'm so excited about being on here, but I want everybody to know that this is real conversation. This is not scripted. This is real conversation. So as you're talking, my mind is racing. And what I'm thinking is that I feel that we're blessed
Mhm.
because we've always had a really great relationship.
Mm.
And just recently, we went on a mother-daughter trip with people that we did not know, and the conversation was, "Have you guys always gotten along so well?" And we have because we've always respected each other.
Mm.
Someone else said, "Your daughter really admires you," and
Mm.
I'm so grateful for that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it really, for the moms that are listening,
Mhm.
it really got to this point because I had to learn how to allow her to be the woman she is,
Mm.
make her mistakes,
Mhm.
and not have to always give my opinion.
Right.
I hold my lips tight a lot of times, but
Mm.
I know that I was the same way. I was the same way. And so just allowing her to make mistakes and to have successes and not always have to judge
Right.
has really been fabulous for us.
Right. Right. So, Kayla, do you find it hard sometimes because she is your mother to, take advice? Do you find it challenging to take her advice? Because, sometimes it's like our mothers. I know with my youngest daughter, I know she finds it challenging to take my advice sometimes. And I just, I have to say it. And she'll look at me and say, "No, would Jesus say that?" I said, "Yes, he would. Mhm. Yes, he would. He would."
Well, that's funny. But once again, I think it's all in the delivery. Sometimes she'll say things maybe without thinking about how to say it. It just comes out. And it could
Mhm.
be that moment where I'm just like, you're just saying that because you're my mom. Or, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
how do you know? Is my
Right.
thing. I always want to question it.
Right.
And why should I do that? What is that going to do?
Right.
Instead of actually just maybe taking the advice. So it is not all roses and daisies.
Uh-huh.
But once again, it's that communication. I think she kind of understands now
Uh-huh.
what is going on in my mind.
Uh-huh.
And so instead of her being upset maybe by my reaction, she's just approaches it in a different way that I
Yeah.
could actually receive. And now she's gotten to the point where it's like, Kayla, I know what you're thinking. I know you're questioning me, wondering why I'm telling you, but I
Right.
promise this is in your best interest, and
Right.
it softens it.
Right. So do you feel like, Kayla, also that as your mom and being in business with her, do you
Mhm.
feel like sometimes you have to have those clear lines of boundaries and let her know those boundaries so that she's aware of those boundaries?
Mhm.
And because she's aware of those boundaries, not that she always does or not that I always do, I'm aware of the boundaries, but sometimes I cross over the boundaries. Let's be clear.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so what's your thought about that? And then I want to hear your thoughts, Bridget.
For sure. It's not white and black though. There's such a gray area. Sometimes I will go to her almost wanting a certain answer. So I know how to do this, right? So I'll go to her like, I'm asking you this as a mom, not as a business coach, or
Right.
the other way around. So sometimes I do just have to lay it out as soon as I ask so that we are both aware
Mhm.
of what the intent is.
Mhm.
But other times it's just emotions.
Right.
And so it's not
Mhm.
always going to be white and black, but the better communication we have usually comes from having those clarity the clarity of boundaries.
Good,
Yeah.
good. And what's your thought, Bridget?
Same thing. You have to have boundaries,
Mhm.
not only with business, but in personal life.
Mhm.
One thing that I have always been a morning person,
Mhm.
naturally wake up 5 o'clock or earlier. And Kayla is totally
Really
opposite.
not.
Totally opposite. That's right. And so I had to release that. And that was one of the boundaries that really helped. I
Mhm.
believe her to be successful and for me to not be so stressed out.
Mhm.
And again, it was just that boundary that I had to look at. She is not going to be up at 5 o'clock
Mhm.
doing her thing, but she
Mhm.
will be up past midnight when
Mhm.
you're asleep.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, good. And Bridget, let's talk about how we as mothers give
Mhm.
too much to our children, which
Mhm.
can make it hard for us to sometimes work together because we give them so much.
Oh,
As I
yeah.
look back, over, especially with my children and my grandchildren, because my grandchildren are just I'm so close to them. And so it's like, I see myself and sometimes I think that we give so much to them that they don't appreciate what they have. And they may recognize it later that they don't appreciate it, but there is a certain point where they don't. And for me, I'll just say for me, it's very frustrating. I think like my oldest grandson, he has just gotten to the point where he'll call me and for my advice or to calm him down or whatever. I give him the advice, but you know what? I had to realize he's 24 years old. He's going to make the decision
Yeah.
of, what he wants to do and what he wants out of life. And so whether I agree or not,
Right.
but because of how much we give to our children, which I think in this world, in this society, as parents, we give our children too much, and they don't realize they didn't have to. I know my children didn't have to go through what I went through,
Right.
because my mother wasn't able to do that, and she
Right.
was a single mom,
Right.
and so in raising four girls, and so now that I'm older, I can see that and appreciate it and value that. And
Mhm.
so want to instill that with my grandchildren, the importance of appreciating. So talk a little bit about that. What's your thought on that last question?
It has truly been a process. And for Kayla, I have to tell you that it started when she went to college, and the college didn't want to talk to me. They wanted me to talk to them through her. And
Mm,
now with Josh being scouted for football, he's a high schooler and they don't want to talk to me. And so, I started having to release them as adults a lot sooner. But I will tell you what I have found, because this has been a topic here. What I have found is that whatever I felt like as a girl that I did not have is what I wanted to give to my daughter.
mhm.
And then I was expecting her to appreciate what I had given her as though she had seen what I did not have as
Wow,
a young woman.
that's
She
true.
did not know.
Right,
And so what I was giving her, I wanted her to appreciate, but that was her life.
right,
It was normal for her. She didn't understand not having, or what I was doing was extra.
right.
And so what I wanted her to do, and this is a good thing for everybody to understand,
Mhm,
what I wanted her to do was not start from where I was.
mhm.
I wanted her to take the foundation that her father and I were able to give her and springboard from that.
Wow.
And that is what she has done. That is what Joshua is doing. And so that's why their appreciation for what we do is different,
Right,
because it's appreciation from the life that they have.
right. And definitely, trust me, they have it. I mean, really,
Do we get too much? We
Christmas at my house is like ridiculous. I look at that tree and just want to slap myself.
yes, yes.
But it's the love that we have for them, and we
Well,
want them to have. I know for
mhm,
me, I want them to have what I didn't have. I
Right.
didn't have that kind of Christmas tree with the tree. Look, the gifts were outruling the tree.
yes,
I didn't
yes,
have that because that my mom wasn't able to do that, and so.
yes,
But that's life. What's
yes.
your thought about it, Kayla, as your mom and appreciating what she does for you?
I
You could
agree.
be real. I know we're on the show, but you could be real.
Right. No, I'm saying I
Be
definitely
real.
agree, because we do not look at it from that light. I love the way that she put that, because we are not aware of what it is that she did not have. But
Right.
the older you realize, or the older you get, you start to realize, wait a minute, that's not normal. Wait a
Right.
minute, that's not, everyone doesn't have that. She
Right.
was setting me, she was putting me steps ahead so that I can skip all of that struggle.
Mm,
And I'm seeing that now. I appreciate, her being willing to let me try to figure things out in college, but also gave me the opportunity to choose if I wanted to do Mary Kay for myself.
mhm,
I appreciate her commitment to the business, because she was then able to allow me to be exposed to
mhm,
so many things that I had no idea existed, just the
mhm,
powerful women like you.
mhm,
And so I feel like there are probably things that I want to give to my children, that they will just gimme. They will have no idea that it's nothing that I didn't have, but I understand now it's kind of a sacrifice as
Right.
being a parent.
Right.
They may not see things in the way that you do, but we
Mhm.
do it out of love and for wanting our children to do better than we did.
Right. That was so good. Well,
Mhm.
I want to thank both of you for being my guest today on Real Conversations with Nora. Are there any last minute comments that you would like to share with the audience?
Kayla, you go first.
Cherish your mother while she is here. She is the
Oh,
only
yeah.
mother that you will have. And I always tell people she is your number one fan. She
Right.
is the one woman in your corner, no matter how
Yeah.
nasty things get. No
Mhm.
matter how nasty things get. So make sure
Mhm.
that you appreciate her while she's here and
Right.
honor her.
Thank
And to the mothers, I would say allow your children to be who they are designed to be, because we all know that God creates us and He places the desire in the heart. And so for us, we are just there to give instruction and to move them along.
Oh. Well, once again, I want to thank you for your insight on today's topic. It was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. So thank you again
Thank
for
you.
being my guest today. And to my Real Conversation with Nora audience, please follow us on social media at BWO, at Instagram rather, at BWOTMFG, and on Facebook at Businesswomen on the Move for God. You can sign up, go to our website at bwotmfg.com and sign up for our new programs, and make sure you stop by a retail store where you will find lots of great items for you, your family, and your friends. Also, ask your friends to watch the show each week and share it with others. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Real Conversations with Nora. Have a blessed and awesome and prosperous week. God bless you.